let you know more of the details behind the Boston Massacre, which led to the Boston Tea Party. You are going to have to write as if you were at the Boston Tea Party. When we did the massacre, I let you write more. This historical fiction narrative, I would like you to focus it just on the action. Okay? So, as far as what to include, you will begin on page 9, and you will begin under the picture. So you'll have to lift the picture up to do your writing. You'll start at the top. You must indent your first line only because this is going to be one paragraph. So you might want to sort of realize that your margin is going to have to come in a little ways, but wherever you make your left-hand margin, please know that all of your lines need to come out to the left-hand side. And you really should not need to take more than page 9 to do this. You are limited to one paragraph. You must talk only about the party. You have to say that you were there. That would be a very good way to begin your paragraph. It's important then to mention why the tea was destroyed. Now, that's not in the details here under the main idea of the party. You have to look back towards the beginning. Why were Sam Adams and John Hancock and Paul Revere and hundreds of other people who lived in Boston, why were they willing to do something this illegal? Sequence of action just means go in order. What did they do first? What did they do next? And so forth. As part of your sequence of action, I expect you to use prepositions to begin at least 2 sentences. Some prepositions I might suggest: after, ... and don't forget, after the phrase, you need a comma before the main part of the sentence. Before. So your when prepositions would work really well. You do not have to use before or after, but you must use aboard, about, above, across, after, against, along, amid, among, around, at, before, behind, below, beneath, beside, between, beyond, but, by, concerning, down, during. Ooh, during would work really well. Except for, because that's telling a length of time. From, except for from, in, into, like, near, of, off, on, onto, out, over, past, than, through, to, toward, up, upon, under, underneath, until, with, within, and without. Prepositions are very helpful to begin sentences when you are telling sequence, so I want you to use them. You must end with one of 2 thoughts. Either, was it worth the risk? After destroying all this tea, did you go away from it feeling like, yes, the reason we did this made it worthwhile to risk being caught and put in jail and not knowing exactly yet how we will be punished? Or end with, what do you hope the results will be? So your last sentence might start, even though we took a great risk, comma, it was worth it. Or, I hope, and then tell, what do you hope is going to happen next? Do you hope Parliament has learned its lesson about trying to force colonists to pay taxes? You need to have that one paragraph written, and you also have an assignment about tea. So first of all, it says study the graph. What kind of a graph is this? We talked about this particular type of graph in Arctic Nights. It is the lines here on which you make the data points. How high you go up each line is what is important, and then you connect your data points dot to dot, forming a line. Hint, hint. Not a very long spot to put your answer, so just 1 or 2 words. It does not have to be a complete sentence. Number 2, it gives you directions on things to do on the graph. Read it and do those. Number 3, which year had the most tea imports? You can't answer that until after you have all of the years on the graph. Same thing for which year had the least. And then they're asking you to look at only 2 of the years, 1767, 1770. 67 is on this line. You should be able to find the line that shows 70, and it asks which one had more. So all you have to put in that blank is 1 year. Then number 6, in 1773, Britain told the 13 colonies they could only buy tea from one company. This made the colonists angry. They protested at the end of 1773 by dumping into Boston Harbor all the tea that had just arrived on the British ships. In response, Britain closed the Boston Harbor. In a few sentences, so that would be at least 2, describe how these events, so don't tell these things again. Tell the consequence of them. Tell how they affected imports of tea. I would start this by saying these events made imports of tea increase in 1774, go up in 1774, go down in 1774, totally stop in 1774. How would you know that? Well, you've got a graph right up here to show you. That is one sentence. Your next sentence is going to be the graph shows, and then up in the graph, get the data that it tells you about 1774. It doesn't have to be an exact number. It could be less than, it could be more than, it could be something like barely this amount or almost that amount. But look back up on the graph, the data point at 1774, put into words what that data point shows. This assignment, as well as your paragraph about the Tea Party, both need to be sent to me. They are your assignment today. Thank you.